artists, so here is a video on how you can finish your Cell-fies artwork. So there's a couple options of what you can do. So you can either go ahead and color in the background, much like you were doing with your crayons or colored pencils, but for your background you would use a contrasting color. So for our cell walls and our organelles, we used analogous colors. So that means colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So if we look at mine, let's see what type of analogous color scheme did I use. So let's pick it out. We can see I used kind of some blues, greens, and yellows. So I used these colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So if I was to use colors that contrasted these, I would use colors that were opposite of them on the color wheel. So if I have predominantly like some teals, and so maybe I'll find I have lots of teal colors. So if I go to like blue-green, what is across from blue-green? I have red-orange. So maybe if you want to do the coloring idea, you can go in and grab a red-orange and color your background for behind the cells, and maybe for the inside of the cells where all around them, maybe you want to do another similar color, like maybe you want to fill it in with yellow-orange all around them, but it's up to you. But I'm going to show another technique, which is kind of a resist. So if you want to do a new fun technique, this artwork here was done by doing a resist and using tinfoil and markers. So I did the same ideas. To start, I used my crayons to color in the cell walls, my organelles, but this background area was done with the resist. So that's what I'm going to get into now. So to do the resist, you're going to need some tinfoil. You're going to need some washable markers. Here I have Mr. Sketch, Crayola, or whatever washable marker you have is fine, and a sharp. Okay, artist, once you have a piece of tinfoil that is the same length and width of your piece of paper, we are then going to choose your analogous color that will contrast the colors you used for your cell wall and your organelles. So if I look at my color wheel here again, I used mostly blues and blue and green. So maybe I want to go to blue-green. So I used lots of blue-green. And let's see what color is across from that on the color wheel. Across from that is red-orange. So maybe for behind my cell walls, I want to maybe choose an orange or a red. I think I'm going to go with an orange. So the next step is kind of a fun part. So I'm going to put my tinfoil piece back on top, and I want to kind of fill this piece of tinfoil with my washable marker. So here I'm using Mr. Sketch, some Crayola washable markers, whatever type of washable marker you have is fine, but I'm literally just going to cover this whole piece of tinfoil with my marker. And this, we want to really fill the space. Make sure you cover the area, because we are going to eventually wet our artwork paper and then press it onto this marker. And the wet paper will absorb this color. It will pick up whatever marker you put onto your tinfoil once we flip it face down onto this tinfoil. So I'm covering the area. It's okay if you do want to leave some area it's not totally colored in. That might add a really cool texture. And since they are washable markers, maybe you want to even blend with another color. So maybe I want to blend some yellow in. See, I'm getting like a yellow-orange. Okay, once your tinfoil is covered completely, this is when the water part comes in. So you're gonna get back to you can put your tinfoil aside. We're gonna you can spray your artwork down with water, or you can literally just run it under the faucet and to wet it. Since I'm under by my laptop over here, I'm just gonna spray my artwork completely until it is all wet. So maybe you want to just run it under the faucet. That is an option. You don't have to wet it too much if you're doing the faucet way. Just make sure it looks all pretty damp. I'm spritzing. Okay, it's starting to look wet. Okay, I think it is wet completely. Make sure the edges are damp as well, because we need the water here to pick up the marker that we put on the tin foil. Okay, I think I wet my paper completely. Now you can either put your tin foil back, you can put your tin foil back down in front of you, and you could put your artwork, here's my artwork, you're going to put it face down onto the tin foil. And now this part where you're going to rub and make sure you really get the paper to pick up that color. You can already see that orange is starting to kind of bleed through the other side, so maybe you want to grab a paper towel and you could use that to kind of rub that color in. I'm using a napkin. I'm really trying to get that color to transfer onto my paper. Get the edges. You can take a little peek and see how your artwork is looking. Look, you can see the color really transferred on, and where I have my waxy crayon, it the color resisted there, so that color stayed showing. And you can kind of see the outlines where my waxy crayon was, that didn't let the wet marker seep through. So you kind of can see the border of my cell walls from the crayon, which is pretty cool. Okay, I want to see what my artwork looks like. You can always wet the paper again until it's back, but look how the tin foil is no longer orange because the artwork picked it up. And look, there is my cell wall. You can see some of the edges are still kind of white. You can go back and put more marker on your tin foil and re-wet it again. But I think this looks super cool. And then there is another technique. If you want the inside of your cells to be a different color, we can flip it back down. And where you see kind of the borders of your cells, you can go in with your marker and gently and carefully just run that along the sides of the cells where you kind of see that the wax created a resist. So that's where the wax did not allow the water to seep through. So I'm just kind of going over where my cell borders are with my marker, the back side of my Sharpie. And this is going to make some indents into the aluminum foil. Don't forget the edges. Okay, I'm going to flip and see. Look there, I can kind of see the indents where I drew with the back side of my Sharpie. I kind of made those indents. And then if you want those to be a different color, so sticking to analogous colors, since I have lots of green on there, a complementary color of green is red. So where I drew those kind of borders, I'm going to go in with my red and I color in those areas where I marked out where my cells are. Remember, you don't have to color it completely. Maybe you want it to look kind of a cool texture. So I'm not going to fill these completely. Couple more to fill in. Going to the edges. Okay, so you can spray your artwork again if you like, but it might be already damp that it will pick up the color enough. So you're going to lay it back down where it lines up with those cell walls. I'm laying it right on top to the edges. I'm going to press to see if my paper is wet enough to pick up that red. I'm going to do a little test. Let's see, is it picking up? Oh yeah, you can see it is transferring. So once again, we want to rub or press down those areas, get your paper to pick up your second color. Don't rub too much because remember, it is wet paper, so it is a little delicate. So you can dab, 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 dab. Okay, now I'm going to do the big reveal. Let's see if maybe I need to go back or add some more color. Ooh, I think that looks pretty cool. I can see how it didn't, some areas I may not have been too exact, but I think that's really cool how the color transferred into the areas. It makes the inside of cells look a little different. So friends, it is up to you how you want to finish coloring in your cells. Maybe you want to continue to use your coloring tools like your crayons or your colored pencils to color in the background with your analogous colors, and then for the background of the cell and the background behind the cell walls, make sure you use a contrasting color, so colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. Or maybe if you have watercolors at home or other paints, maybe you want to use those to fill in the spaces behind. It is up to you, but have fun and stay creative.